Get it. So we got the playoffs. Let's look at it. Let's look what's going on, man. Playoffs first round. So we got one more week of the first round. Let's start off with Team Darmello versus Fantasy Savage, second seed versus fourth seed. Versus seventh seed. And it looks like, Darmello might have this category on lock, one category on lock, two categories slightly on lock, three categories slightly on lock. Let's see what Fantasy Savage can come back in. It's gonna be a stretch for him to come back in this, but he can. One. A stretch for him to come back in this, but he can. Two. Maybe this will be a very far stretch. This is a stretch. This is a stretch. This is a stretch. That's a stretch for him to come back in, and that's a super stretch for him to come back in. So wow, I don't know what categories Fantasy Savage can go after, really. What's the number one category Fantasy Savage could try to go after? And look, the Melo could come back in blocks. He could come back in TO. He could slightly come back in assists. He could come back in free throws. So Don Melo, yeah, right now looking like he could even win 10-0. And Fantasy Savage, all the categories he's trying to come back in is going to be a stretch, especially points, super stretch. More than 100 points, you got to come back in. Steals, more than 10 steals, that's a stretch. More than 5%. For the 3-point percentage, that's a stretch. And 3-pointers, that's a super stretch too. Field goal percentage, yeah, that's a stretch. So I don't know, Fantasy Savage looking like, yeah, he only has like a 5% chance to come back in this matchup. And if he does come back, he still has to, win 6-4. It can't even be tied for Fantasy Savage. So yeah, it'll be an amazing comeback if Fantasy Savage come back. Let's see if there's any more games, more of a blowout of the first round in this so far. Let's look at the next game. On that, let's go to 7-2. Orlando Pride versus Ass Nation. Now Orlando Pride down 3-7. Ass Nation up 7-3. Let's see where Orlando Pride can come back in. He can come back in field goal percentage and free throw percentage. More so, free throw percentage would be easier for him to come back in for sure. 3-point percentage look like it's too far of a stretch for him to come back in that. 3-pointers made to that's almost 33 pointers you have to come back in, so that might be too far of a stretch. Turnovers, that might be too far of a stretch for him to come back in turnovers too. Points, he up down by 100 points plus. So the number one category you could come back in is free throw percentage. Number two category you could come back in is assists, and that's a stretch. More than 20 assists almost, or close to 20 assists from where he needs. So free throw percentage, you can come back in, but he gonna need to win 6-4. So if he come back in field goal percentage, he'll have a better chance. That'll be two categories he has the best chance to come back in. The third category he gonna have to go for most likely is gonna be he's gonna have to go for assists. He's gonna have to find a way to go for assists. He has Luka and LeBron, and I think he has another guard that could get us 5+ assists a game. So he has the opportunity to get that. And turnovers, maybe he could find a way to limit turnovers, but with Bron and Luka, I don't know, that might be tough with how much they have the ball in their hands. So yeah, as Nation, I would say Orlando Pride has more. I would say it ain't 5% chance for him to come back like Fantasy Savage. I would say Orlando Pride has more of a 5%. Maybe Orlando Pride has more of a 10% chance, 10 to 15% chance to come back. You can come back in these two percentages, but the third one maybe assists. So I would say it might be lower than 15, might be actually closer to 10, it could be 5% too. I would say anywhere between 5 and 10%. Orlando Pride can come back in. Might be same as Fantasy Savage. Fantasy Savage has a little bit more of a challenge to come back than Orlando Pride, but not much. Just a little bit. Then we got Taylor Swift Movement versus Me Too Movement. Taylor Swift Down Under versus Me Too Movement. 1 versus 8 seed. So it looks like Taylor Swift Down Under. Let's see if we can come back in. Yeah, he can slightly come back in that category. He could come back in that category. So that'd be 4, 6. What else he can come? He come back in that category. That'd be 5, 5. He can come back in that category. That'd be 6, 4. He can come back in that category. Come back in that category. So Taylor Swift Down Under could come back. The only category she probably might be too far of a stretch for him to come back in is 1 and maybe 2. That's about it. Everything else he could easily come back in. And Me Too Movement, he could come back in this category. So Me Too Movement could do as good as 9-1. I don't think he'll come back in this category, but I think Me Too Movement can do as good as 9-1. Taylor Swift could turn this around and do as good as you see, you locked out of maybe this one and this one, so maybe even Taylor Swift could do 8-2. He could come back and win possibly 8-2. Taylor Swift would be only locked out of this category and this category. But 30, yeah, that's 40 rebounds. Yeah, that's gonna be tough to come back in. So then we got my matchup at Target's Goons versus Joy's Peanut Butter Skin. So, when I'm trying to come back in, field goal percentage and free throw percentage. So field goal percentage gonna be tough for me to come back in. Free throw percentage, that could possibly be the easiest category for me to come back in. And blocks and turnovers and points. So I could slightly come back in rebounds, but that'd be a far of a stretch. But I would say field goal percentage is the main thing I need to focus on. I need to focus on. That's the number 1 category I could come back in right here. No, this is the number 1 category right here. I could come back in. No, this is the number 1. This number 2. This number 3. This number 4. This number 5. This number 6. So I feel like I'm only locked out of this one category. Now, McTarget's Goons, he's locked out of at least one category. That's come back in that, that'd be a far of a stretch. So he's locked out of 1 or 2. So yeah, we only both locked out of 1 or 2 categories. So yeah, we're pretty close in that. We're close in that. So should be an interesting matchup, man. For the second week and see who plays who. You know what I'm saying? Who going for what category stats. So win the matchup and advance to the semi. So that's what up. Maybe I might I'm definitely gonna do another video before second round. I might do a video like midweek of this second week of the first round. So that's what it is, man. That's what it's looking like right now, and yeah, man. The closest matchup for sure is the 3 versus 6 matchup. My squad versus McTarget's Goons, closest matchup. Everything else, but this is the second closest matchup right here. Taylor Swift Down Under can't come back. So these 2 matchups are more of a blowouts right now, and these 2 matchups right here are more close. With my matchup being close, a little bit closer, but both of them pretty close right now. So that's what it is, man. I'm a holler. And what else with the league in general? Yeah, we got OKC got the number 1 seed out west on lock, but it's interesting to see the Suns not even in the playoff. Not even, it look like they don't even have an opportunity to make the playoffs. The Suns, wow. Yeah, out east, Embiid shutting down, man. I'm like, wow. He went from MVP last season to now. They talking about he might not even be able to play in the league. He went from MVP to not being able to even play anymore. Man. So yeah, look like SGA got the MVP on lock. Think about it. SGA cannot play anymore this season, and they go still say he might be a top candidate to win the MVP. So that's what it is, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Holla.